Yet. Okay, we are live. I can't believe I have Jodie here with us. For all of you who have no idea who Jodie is, I used to say you're missing out, but as of this moment, you're not missing out because guess what? You get to hear from her. Jodie, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us today. Tell us who you are.
It's a pleasure, Migena. It's an absolute pleasure. I feel like I'm sitting across the table from you. So love this, love this. So I'm Jodie Sacco, born and raised South African, came to the States 16 years ago and currently live in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm a mum of two daughters. I have a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old, and very proud to say that. And I'm also an aunt, I guess I'm a mother to many as well. I've always been very philanthropic and big fan of Mother Teresa, and just am always wanting to be of service and help others. I guess that's something that was just innate in me. So that's me pretty much.
I want everyone to know that this is going to be an absolutely imperfect conversation. And if you can see me, I am typing as Jodie is speaking because we are on live stream in different social platforms. And I want to capture amazing things that will come out of Jodie's mouth for sure. So if you see it's because these are two women talking. There is no people behind us assisting us. So we are doing it all. And speaking of that, Jodie, I now cannot ask you where is the accent from because now we all know it's from South Africa. And being Albanian myself, I love when people ask me, "Oh, where are you from?" And I'm like, "Oh, thank God they asked me, so then I can talk forever." And you know, Jodie, I talk forever. Working on making it less talkative, but
it's always of value, Migena. So
thank you. Now, you moved from South Africa 16 years ago. Please share with us the journey. I'm not going to ask all the details because, of course, you will share what you feel comfortable with and what you feel is important for the audience to know for that woman who's listening to us today and into the future. Walk us through that journey. I'm very excited to hear about it.
Yeah, sure. So I knew from a very, very young age that I'd been put on the earth for some bigger purpose. I don't know why. If I look back at it now, I kind of think, wow, that's a little arrogant. But yeah, all 17 years old of me, I knew that I had to go on to bigger things, and there was something I was meant to be doing. And I already was very involved in my community, and I was on every kind of community committee, and I was very involved in doing community service. We just did a lot as South Africans because there was so much poverty and unemployment. But one thing that I noticed and that really, really struck me was I wanted to make a change in my family's heritage and in the DNA of my family. And the reason being is that there was just so much sadness. There was so much despair, and it all came down to what I didn't understand at the time was a relationship with money. And there was always a lack. And so now I understand that as being a mindset issue. And it's interesting because our IQ when we're born is set. You cannot change that. But when it comes to your emotional intelligence, it is never, ever, ever defined. It can always change, and it can always grow exponentially. So I knew that I needed to be the person in my generation to break that kind of curse. So I know that we are, our stories, we have that commonality as well, right? Like especially the women in our family. I don't know if it was generational or whether it was a combination of the environment as well. But when you're living around people and there's a lot of poverty around you, it's incredible how you lower your ability to think big. And that's a very important point that I coach on now as a business strategist and a business growth strategist is the key element to 99% of business owners who are struggling to grow actually lies within the 6 inches between their ears. It's their mindset. It's the blueprint of their beliefs of certain things. So that's really how the journey began, was this idea that I needed to do something big. And so I decided to be a diplomat. That's what I was going to do, because to be a diplomat meant that I could make an impact in others' lives, but it meant I could travel and I could hopefully start to generate some kind of amazing income that I could then start to support my family financially. So my first kind of step out of the country was I lived in Brazil for a year, and I was a Rotary exchange student, and was at age 17, and my whole world just exploded. It was so significantly impactful on my life, because what I noticed is people living in the same kind of poverty, sometimes even worse, were still happy. And that's where my journey with personal development started, because I realized that it's not about money or no money. It's about happiness. And this one simple thing, that happiness is actually a choice. You get to choose to be happy or not. And so that really opened up my eyes. And that's when I knew, hang on, I needed to get away from my people. And so that was a really, really difficult decision for me. So there's a lot that happened in between there, and my story is, we can dive into that if you want to, but yeah, I just landed up in America because I ultimately knew that there were opportunities here that really could get me around the right people. We speak about that so often, ASKMigena. It's about surrounding yourself with people who make you want to elevate yourself, as opposed to feeling like you need to dumb yourself down. So I hope that answers your question.
I love it. And when you were speaking about happiness, it reminded me of a quote. I don't remember the exact words, but it goes something like this. We need to remind ourselves to stop pursuing happiness and be happy. Because we all are in this pursuit, and in the process, we forget who we are. We forget about our families. We forget about priorities. And I love that you say that, and I love that you had that courage to take the matters in your own hands and go for it, versus contemplating, versus maybe today, maybe tomorrow. You saw that opportunity and you went for it. And that's what my mother did. And being an immigrant myself, it's a very similar story, where the lack of money teaches you a lot of lessons. And I feel we are the chosen ones because we also are the generous ones, because we don't keep the stories for ourselves.
No.
We share them, because our stories are not for us to keep, are for us to share, as my friend Tony says over and over on Clubhouse. So I love your courage. And I mean, you're a beautiful person, and we not only share stages together, but we share books together.
We do. Yes, we do.
And I remember our first time meeting. It was a discovery call between you and I, and I just fell in love with Jodie without even knowing anything about you. Like there is this strength, like there is this strength inside you, but then you're also very calm. So it's such a beautiful combination, and I couldn't resist but to saying, Jodie, you have to be part of this book, and I'm overselling it, and then I catch myself, wait a second, I'm not the publisher, why am I trying so hard to convince this awesome lady to be in this book. I know she sees the value, but you are just that awesome person. And of course, you allowed me to finish my sentence, to complete my passion expressions and whatever I was saying. God knows what I was saying. And then he's like, let's do it. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. It took one call. And ta-da!
I know. Well, the power, and the reason it was so easy for me to make that decision, Megana, it lies in this: the power of storytelling. And I love a quote by Wayne Dyer. He said, "Never let your music die with you." And our music as individuals can be very, very different. It can mean something different to individuals. But I want to encourage everyone who's listening now, when you have experiences, whether they're good, bad, run the gamuts on the up to terrible, awful, disastrous, life-changing, whatever those experiences are, know that there's a reason why it's happened. And one day you're going to bump into somebody and you're going to share that particular story. And you never know the impact it could make on that individual. So that's why for me, when you spoke about being able to be a co-author, it was like an opportunity I've been waiting for, because I really believe in that we should never hold on to our music. We should always make sure that we tell our stories. And if you think about what cultures were built on, millions, hundreds and thousands of years ago, it was always storytelling. Mm-hmm. And that's how we taught the next generation to evolve and be better humans, right? So it was an absolute privilege to be part of that book with you, Megana. I'm grateful to you for offering it.
I am so proudly showing this Powerful Female Immigrants Volume 2. And here are all the amazing women coming together from all over the world, uniting and gifting their stories, because through our stories we are contributing to shaping future generations, to hopefully teach them they don't have to go through what we went through, because we are working hard to create a better future.
That's right.
But at the same time, don't forget where you come from.
That's right.
Like a bad hair day in New York, it was raining and I'm very self-conscious. My hair is like frizzy. This is me being Megana, because I can't be formal. Now, Jodie, Powerful Female Immigrants Volume 2, 24 women movements. I've been dying to ask you, why is the title Excess Baggage?
Yeah, so it was interesting. It was the first thing I wrote. Like normally most writers never get to actually come up with the title until the end of the book, right? But I knew exactly what I wanted it to be, because my story is about and the lesson I want everybody to take away from this is that we all carry excess baggage within us. And this is a compound effect of years and years of those that normally it's bad experience, right? It's negative encounters, it's breakups, it's fights, it's arguments, it's business losses, it's the loss of friends. It's all that stuff. And so often, I don't know if this has ever happened to you. You go on a trip and you overpack. You completely overpack, right? And Megana knows knows as well. I can tell. Yeah, and so you completely overpack, and when you get there to the destination, you figure out you only needed such a small amount. And you using it, and it's very practical, and it's part of a journey, and you're making new memories, right? But all the stuff that's left over is all excess, and it causes nothing but backache, stress because you're worrying about your luggage being overweight at the airport. And then invariably it's somebody, if you're traveling with a partner, it's a partner who says, oh my God, why do you always overpack? Right? There's always just the stress around this excess baggage. So the story really is that even though I left my country to come to a place for better opportunity and a change of lifestyle, so that I could then help my family in South Africa, I never let go, or rather, I was still carrying on to massive amounts of excess baggage. Now, what landed up happening is that because of that, it eventually became too much of a burden to bear, and I had a nervous breakdown. And I turned 40 years old, and because I'd never cleaned out that luggage, I'd never gotten rid of that stuff. When I turned 40, and there were a few triggers as well. I'd lost a best friend in a tragic car accident. Later found out it was purposefully done. Just horrible things, right? And then I was turning 40. I had this life change, and it was too much. So my purpose for sharing that is to urge, especially women who tend to hold on to stuff a lot more, if we don't deal with the stuff, you will eventually get to a break point. And that for me was massively tragic. It meant the loss of a marriage that to a person I adored, right? And was everything to me. But because it was so immense and because I'd never taken the time to deal with it, I then had to go through massive amounts of loss as a result. And I never want that to happen to any other person ever in their life. So, that's why the title.
Wow. And I am admitting globally at this point that I have not read your chapter, and I have not read any of the chapters, by the way, including my own, and the reason I don't even know. And I wonder, because I know I want to read them all, but there is a part of me that is scared.
I get the same feeling. I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
And I'm being 100% transparent, as always. And for everyone who does not know me, if you were to ask my friends, when Megena comes to mind, what's the first word that you would describe her as, or as an adjective? And I get energy a lot, and I get all of these other things, but transparency is one of them. And the reason why, Jodie, I have not read the chapters, in my own, it's my own, I don't need to read it. And the reason why I don't read mine is because I know there's so many grammatical errors, and I'm happy with my imperfections, and I'm like, let's go read my imperfections. But for the rest of the women, I feel the pain, and I've connected with them in present time, and I love knowing their past. But because we all are working so hard towards the future, I don't want to sound selfish, but I'm scared to read them, because I know that I'm going to read painful stories about them, how their journeys were coming to where they're at. And I'd rather keep my relationships with who we are present.
Yeah, it makes sense, Megena.
It makes sense because I will read them, but I've been avoiding these reasons.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I feel the same thing, and I think it's actually a celebration that us as co-authors hold each other in a space now in the present, because we have all experienced different levels of trauma and difficulties, but that's what makes us powerful, is because of how we show up in the present. That's what I think the key is. And rather for us to celebrate and support each other in what is the next level for each and every one of us as co-authors. So I mean, there's no judgment in that, and I don't think you should berate yourself or feel bad. It's just, it's okay. And I think that's what's so important as well is when you do have a really good EQ or emotional intelligence, you're able to self-assess. That's always the first thing. And yeah, if you self-assess and it doesn't feel comfortable, don't do it now. There might be it might be a point in time where suddenly you're like, you know what, I actually do want to read those now. But
Yes.
I
Yes.
love that idea of what you said there, just rather
Mm.
celebrating the women in the present and being supportive for their future.
Thank you. I am so grateful that this conversation is around the book, because you have been doing amazing things for many years. You've changed people's lives. I know that for a fact. But when I invited you to be on the show, and I'm so grateful and honored that you accepted, because you are a mom and you are a businesswoman and you do so much more. I wanted to have a conversation with you as if you and I are having our cups of coffee. Look at my cup, two different sides, and have the conversation flow. And we have on LinkedIn one of our co authors for Real Women in Real Estate, which is a project that is launching August 1st, that I'm super, super excited to be one of the leaders. When you were speaking, Jodie, about the experience with the book, she actually wrote, "Wow, capital letters, me too." So there's more out there that feel the same way. And I'm glad to hear that from Karen. And you know how much I love my friends, Jodie, and I'm never on script, of course. Roberto Sainz, who is one of my friends from the 10X community, is asking on the topic of having to get away from what you've always known in order to grow. Where I live, there's a belief amongst the entrepreneurial community that in order to serve this community, you have to always, capital letters, reside in this community. Like, what's your thought on this? Like, you get the question, or maybe?
No, just rephrase that maybe for me.
So pretty much having to get away in order for you to grow, like having to get away from your community in order
Yes.
to grow. Uh, like, because where he lives, there's this belief that in order to serve this community, you cannot leave the community, because why? How
Mm,
else would you serve them if you're
yes.
walking away? So he would like to know your thoughts on this
Yes.
topic.
Okay, I love that. I love that question because it's very, very valid. We never want to abandon our people because that's gonna it's gonna create antagonism within you, right? If you believe, if you understand what your purpose is, and then you abandon that community, that's not going to feel good. So you want to be creative about ways you go about doing this. So it's excellent that he's part of the 10X community because it doesn't mean that you physically have to remove yourself from an area, but you have to surround yourself and consume information that is going to keep you at a higher level. Now, what you will find though is that when you go into your community, you'll have to be very, very cautious of protecting yourself and your mindset because it is about it's just human nature. We start to mirror and mimic individuals. We like little sponges unless you have a way that you can protect yourself from letting them influence you. So there's no two ways about it. The more you are around people who are saying things like, oh, that'll never happen to me. It's very subtle words, right? Oh, well, they are lucky because they were just born into money. Well, that must be nice for them to have. It's subtle words. It's not even saying anything about money. It's the subtlety and it's the over the time that it starts to kind of break you down. So the key really is, what are you doing each and every day to reset? That's what I would recommend. How do you reset and ensure that you are showing up as the better version of yourself from the day before? So, and that all lies in daily routines. So the very first thing you want to do in the morning, we all hear about this so much. If you are in any kind of growth mind community, is the way your day starts is the way your day will go. So, do you have some kind of routine when you wake up? Are you making sure that you're visualizing your goals, you're writing down your goals, you're understanding what your purpose is, what your why is? You know exactly that the action items that you need to take in order to get to that goal that you've set. And then what are you plugging into? Because if you're not consuming good positive information, you cannot grow, and your business can't grow, and your actions can't grow beyond your own incompetencies. We can't grow beyond our own incompetencies. And if you're not growing, you're dying. So the way to protect yourself, if you are still in that community, is your daily rituals and routines, your focus on your goals, and kind of recalibrating each and every day. And then the other thing I would say is, it's not bad to leave your community to be able to help them in a far greater way. And what I mean by that is, the reason I came to America is so that I could earn US dollars. Because when I send US dollars back to my family in South Africa, it's multiplied by 18. So I'm not only able to help my family, but I'm able to help them from afar 18x. So I hope that answers the question.
I love it. I love that so much because we are human beings and we cannot help ourselves but feel guilty
Yeah.
every single day for every action we take. We doubt our actions and we feel guilty that we abandoned our
Sure.
families. But when you put it in this perspective that I am able, through this one crucial move, to 18x my family. And I was thinking, go big faster. I was thinking acceleration. I was thinking it will take some time, 5 years, to work hard in order to help someone, where you work hard 1 year and you
Yeah.
are able to help them and help yourself. And thankfully, this country uh, is amazing. I am a proud American. I am grateful, and oftentimes when I when I sign books, one of the sentences I put is "Made in USA with Albanian love," because I have a hard time. I'm like, I'm Albanian. I will always be an Albanian, but I'm also an American
Yeah.
and grateful and uh,
Absolutely.
and this, we're not the first one who made the sacrifices. So also for myself, I quit my job to because I decided that I wanted to grow as a person, and I wanted to be a big girl and not rely on someone else to send me that biweekly paycheck. But I was gonna go and work hard like I used to back in the day and earn it. And to me, it's like I left my community that I built for the past 20 years.
Mm.
And then my friends would text me, "You forgot about us. Where are you? We don't see you anymore." And I would show up to this event once a year or every 6 months. The only way for them to keep up with Migena is, oh, I love that, keep up with Migena.
There we go.
It's like
New hashtag.
the relations keep up with Migena is through social media. And you have no idea how many times I felt guilty that I left, that I made the decision to leave, because they all are contributors to my success.
Mm.
But then at the same time, what keeps me going is the fact that there are so many people in my community, of course, my family goes without saying, who have counted on me, Jodie, from day one. And if I continued to stay in the same environment when I felt that I had outgrown it, and it's not that it no longer served me, but I felt that I could be a stronger source if I left the environment to go out in the world, so I can always come back virtually or physically and serve it in a global, like in a global level, global magnitude. And to also answer Roberto's question, you absolutely should leave your environment, because if you stay in the same environment, you actually are being selfish and you're not serving our community like that. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you asked that question, Roberto, and thank you for supporting us. Now, Jodie, um, what does your day to day look like? You mentioned the daily routine, the resetting. Can you give us a few tips on what's been working for you to
Yeah,
stay focused?
absolutely. So for me, every single morning I have two alarms. I have one that's 5 minutes before I actually need to get up. And so the minute my alarm goes off, I actually lie in bed and I do this little exercise. Very simply, it's called visualization. And I honestly, it's been incredible to me, the things that have transpired in my life that I remember visualizing at some point in time. Now, visualization is not just like A, it's not woo woo, and B, it's not something that is just like one dimensional. This is real visualization. So, unfortunately, what's happened to us as adults is that we've forgotten how to use our imagination. Right. So what you need to do is tap into that childhood memory. Remember a place and time in your past where you dreamt in a very, very big way. You were that fireman, you were the nurse, you were the doctor, whatever it was that you were, right? You have to tap into that part of your brain again to start giving yourself permission to dream, right? And my visualization is 100% aligned to my goals. So we work off a 10x super life as followers of Grant Cardone and within our community, right? And so I have goals that are encompass all areas of my life, because it's no good me growing my business goals if I have no personal goals, or I have no spiritual goals, or I have no family goals, right? So it's all about all those elements coming together. So I'm lying there and I'm using my imagination. And what I'm doing is, let me use an exact example. So at one point I ran a very successful network marketing business, and I was going after this one particular award. And so what I did specifically in that visualization moment is my eyes were closed and I imagined myself in this massive room. I knew exactly what I was wearing. I knew what the stage looked like. And I was walking down the aisle on my way to go and collect my award on the stage. Here's the other thing: you have to elicit all other emotions. So, what does it feel like in the room? What does it sound like in the room? What does it smell like in the room? That is real hardcore visualization. So when you can nail that down, it's amazing what happens. I've had things come into my life exactly as I imagined them, and things come into my life that I wanted in the complete opposite way. But the point is, they arrived in my life. So that's probably one of the most powerful things I do.
So the question is, do they have women that look like me in South Africa and you visualize me? Is that what happened here?
Very funny. Yeah, that's a different thing. I'm talking about,
I'm, I'm joking.
there you are.
Remember, we're having coffee here. This is fun.
Yes.
There's a
Yeah.
couple of comments on LinkedIn here. Roberto is very grateful for this answer. He loves it. So, oh wow, I love that. I've never paid attention actually to this visualization thing. Uh, it's actually a method.
Yeah, it is. Because Megana, what I started thinking about was, okay, I've written down these goals, but now how do I make these goals into actionable items? So what is the specific action that I'm going to take to get me to some of these goals? And then the other part of it is the power of our own ability this machine inside here, because here's why we want to do it. There is a little part of your brain called the RAS, the reticular activating system. And what it does is when we decide to think about something, all of a sudden we start to see more of that thing. So let me give you an example. Megena, tell me about a car that you recently thought, I really like that car.
um, a, a blue Range Rover.
Okay, blue Range Rover, divine, awesome. Now, until such time as you had thought about that car, had you seen many of them around? Yeah. Are you
Yes,
seeing more of them around now?
a lot more, and not just Range Rovers, but actually a lot of blue cars.
A lot of blue cars, right? So that is the RAS in your brain coming into action. What it's doing is, because you've put the thought in your mind, it's now looking for more of that same thing. So the power of this, utilizing imagination and visualization and action, is for me where the power comes together in attaining our goals. Because not only are we in action, but now our mind is looking for our next step. So it's constantly saying, okay, that was a good thing. Now, where can I find more of that? And more of that. So your brain, through visualization, is always, it's been programmed to look for what is your next step after you complete that action item. That's where I believe the power lies in achieving your goals.
And did you discover this, Jodie, by accident, or did you read about it and decided to apply it?
Absolutely, by reading.
Mm.
I am that, and that's what I said. The only way you grow is through knowledge acquisition, and you have to always be curious and always want to grow and always want to learn. So yeah, it was after my nervous breakdown, and I knew, oh my gosh, like, I need to do something major. That's when I really dived into more personal development, and kind of took my professional development and put it on hold. And all I did for 3 years was I consumed every kind of personal development guru out there. I wanted to learn from each and every one of them. And then I've kind of combined different nuances from different places to ultimately find what works for me, which is what I coach on now, because I've seen the success in my own life.
I love it. And I love that you brought up the word coach, which is, in my opinion, one of the most used words on planet Earth. Um,
It
and
is overused. It is.
you already answered why is it that now you as a coach. But can you please share with us, as far as you being a coach, are you currently available to take new clients? Are you working with your existing clients? And what's your focus? Because there are many coaches out there, mentors, trainer, there's so many different ways to say the word. Tell us your specialty, and why should whoever is listening to us sign up with you, because we all have problems and we need someone to solve these problems with us, not for us, with us.
Yeah,
So tell us
totally.
more.
Totally. So yeah, I do have my jodiesacco.com website is available. Yeah, you can go on there and double check, have a look at what it is that we do. Really, I agree with you. I think the word coach is overused, and it's a pity, because there's so much power in what a coach actually does. And I will say, coaching for me is all about accountability. So when you come and work with us, it's all specifically around strategies for growth. So that's why I refer to myself as a business growth strategist. I'm able to really create the big picture for business owners. So a lot of the time, individuals will come to me, and it'll be a case of, I started this job because I wanted to have my own life, and I wanted freedom and flexibility, but I'm the worst paid employee in my own business right now. I basically have a job. help. So that kind of individual, I generally work with, my niche has always been in construction, ironically, but it's anybody who touches construction. So it's some of my clients in the past, I had a company who did security, alarm, and smart homes. I had someone else who was a stager, and then I did have like full-on construction clients who built hoses for construction sites, and I had another company that built precast pools, but they all had the same problem. They were stuck and drowning because they weren't able to lift their head up and go, okay, where am I going next? So when you come and work with us, what we design for you is really the roadmap to success. We want to be able to say and hold space for you as a business owner and say, during this time, you get to work on your business, not in your business. And then we create that roadmap, and it spans to, what does this business look like when it's finished? What do you want this business to do? We're going to ask the hard questions, but ultimately, just think about it like this. I always tell these business owners, you need the roadmap, because when times get tough, it's not about trying to just, okay, well, you're just going to make stuff up as you go along. You need to know, where are we going? Is it time for me to hire somebody? Or is that premature? You don't know if you don't have a plan. So let's use an analogy, right? You arrive in Paris. Have you been to Paris before, Megena? We love Paris, right? But you know how chaotic the traffic is, right? So you arrive in Paris, you hire a car, and there's no GPS in the car, right? And now your phone isn't working because you're in a foreign country. You know you need to get to a hotel, right? Now you have the address, but you have no way to know how to get there. Can you imagine how long it would take you to find that place?
Maybe never.
Maybe never. I mean, you could drive along and stop and ask somebody, and they'd tell you, go turn right, turn left. I mean, it's going to take forever, and to your point, you might never get there. So the point of having a business strategist or a business coach and just working with someone to hold you accountable, but it's more so than that. If you don't have the navigation tool, i.e. the road map, you will either take forever to get where you want to go, or you might just never get there. And that's why somebody would want to hire a business coach like I.
I love that analogy, because when I say maybe never, I think of every person out there who is planning and looking and thinking and dreaming to open a business, and they stop, and this person that's looking for that hotel that they cannot find because they lack the roadmap, they end up in a hotel much closer because the night has approached, and they end up having a completely different experience. And oftentimes it's a bad experience, not because that hotel it's not as nice, or if sometimes nicer, but because we know our focus was the hotel we booked the trip for, and the fact that we lost the money, and the fact that now I'm frustrated because I missed the dinner. And being taking action to creating a business, it's all of this. And I must admit that I have gained a lot more clarity since I have joined the 10X community. And as I say, given that everybody knows I'm a grand royalist, not even a fan at this point, I am very much interested in the communities and the access to the people that Grant attracts. Because Grant and I hang out on YouTube every day, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Clubhouse even. I can find Grant anytime I want, everywhere. I don't need to go and watch him in person. But I am excited about every other person. So hands down, having accountability coaches, mentors, trainers, especially someone who has done that before.
Yes.
Versus someone that it's extremely green. It's key to our successes. And I wanted to say thank you for sharing that. And I'm glad people are able to find you in at jodiesacco.com on the
Yeah.
website. And
Yeah.
I know we're approaching the end of this conversation, Jodie, but if I were to ask you like 5 quick questions, fast, 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 because I really want people to know Jodie the woman. So your favorite color, Jodie?
Oh my goodness. Well, pink and then white.
You see, I had no idea because I want to know. Okay, favorite book?
Oh, favorite book, The Alchemist, for sure.
Oh yes, for sure. For me, it's the Count of Monte Cristo, but Alchemist
Okay.
is on the
Yep.
top three. Okay, favorite childhood memory?
Um, doing flower arranging with my grandmother every Saturday afternoon in her church. We would go to the wholesale florist and we would buy all these different flowers, and then we would spend like 2 hours decorating the church. Definitely
Oh
one of my
my,
favorite memories.
I love it. Favorite vacation?
Beach,
Oh yes,
resort,
oh yes, me too.
warm ocean, white
And
sand.
I'm gonna be this person now, and I'm gonna ask you, where is Jodie 5 years from now?
Oh my gosh. I mean,
Do
I
or even better, do you think in those long terms, or are you someone that says, let's focus 1 year at a time? Because you don't have to answer. There's no right answer.
yeah, no, I mean, I'm very visionary and very,
Okay.
yeah, here's the thing. In 5 years' time, I see myself in Miami working
Mm,
in a very, very important role.
I love it.
In 5 years, I'm on a 5-year plan. My kids graduate in 5 years, so it's perfect that you asked me that.
So, Jodie, are you a gambler? You live in Las Vegas. I'm just being silly right now.
I actually am not. I don't think I've ever spent 1 cent of my own money on any of the tables.
I was in Vegas with my family and my parents and my brother in May because we are in this country 20 years. They've been begging me to bring them to Vegas. And after I attended the growth conference in Vegas with Grant Cardone, I, of course, being the leader, right? I had to go check the territory, make sure it was safe, so then I could bring the family a couple of months later. That's
Funny.
how I operate. And absolutely, I was like, yeah, where's the ice cream shop? That's where you can find me every time. If you want to
Crazy,
see me,
crazy place. Yes.
the ice cream places, they have amazing ice cream places.
Yeah. But
Joe,
Megina, that's exactly an example of how happiness is a choice, because
mm,
I was never ever ever happy living in Vegas. I'm more of a cultural person. I've lived on 5 continents. I prefer history and community, and I just felt like the city was soulless. And so after my midlife crisis, let's call it what it is. I suddenly the one day went, wait, happiness is a choice. And the reason I had to like really turn myself around. And then I started looking for all the good things in the city of Las Vegas. And do you know how many of those I found? It was mind blowing. So you can find happiness in any situation. You just have to choose to do so.
oh, I love that so much. And Jody, you've lived in 5 continents, you said?
Yes.
Oh my God, favorite continent?
Oh,
Okay,
that
don't
is so hard. It's
you get a
so hard.
pass. You get a pass on that. Uh,
Oh,
favorite language? Because I know you speak 5. Which one you look
Portuguese.
forward to speaking the most?
Brazilian Portuguese.
Brazilian Portuguese.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Because I lived in Brazil for a year.
For a year, I understand. Oh, that's amazing.
And I have very, 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 very dear people. So when I speak the language, I feel emotionally connected.
Oh, they're amazing. I
Yeah.
have I have friends from Brazil. I have friends from Portugal. Fantastic people. Now, the way I wrap up the show, because it's very important to me first, is what is one message for the world, for anyone that's listening now and the ones that are going to listen to us in the future, like what would you say? And I'm not saying to a woman in Africa or to a young boy in Brazil. I am speaking to the world, like one strong message for them to be inspired by.
Yeah. Um, my message would be, no matter what your circumstance is that you believe you're in right now, you always have an option to change it. And if you feel like you can't change it, it's because you're around the wrong people.
Mm. So you're saying there's hope.
There is always hope.
Mm.
Because there are always options. And if you can remember to try and get that imagination to work again, you will find them just by asking simple questions like, what would it look like if? I wonder if I could do that. Where can I find someone who does this? And
Mm.
just having a mentor or someone who you can believe in, right, is very, 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 very powerful.
Wow, that is such a beautiful message, Jodie. Thank you so much. And I hope for everyone who got the opportunity, right, the once in a lifetime opportunity to see two friends asking questions, to pretty much let you guys know that regardless how close friends you are with someone, we don't know it all. So connect with your friends, reconnect with them, ask them silly questions, make sure they laugh, and if you don't hear them laugh, get a little bit sillier, because life is about finding happiness even in the most
Right.
unexpected places, including Las Vegas. I'm just kidding. Everyone loves Vegas. Vegas is so much fun and happiness. And I am Migena, and if you want to continue to love us, to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You know where to find me. I'm all over social media at migenanyc.com. This is my website, but I focus more on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and I love bringing guests because I'm the one who benefits the most. I learn so much, and Jodie just gifted us an hour of her time that she can never get back, but we
My
know
pleasure.
she did it with a lot of love, and I cannot thank you enough, Jodie.
Of
And I
course.
will just close with our, of course, celebrity picture here.
Oh.
We were at the red carpet at the launch of this book, and I know this is not going to be our only collaboration. Stay tuned, because we all are working very hard, because we are going to change the world one person at a time.
Yes, we are.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, everybody. Have a
Bye-bye.
good day. Okay.